Just received an update.
It's the Think High crew. Yeah.
Just received an update.
Yeah. It's the Think High crew. What up?
Just received an
Yeah.
update.
It's the Think High crew. You know.
Just received an update.
It's the Think High crew. What up? It's the Think High crew. Yeah. It's the Think High crew. Yeah. 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 Think High.
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Hey, Grand Rising guys and goddesses. What's poppin', no?
Man, it's another mindful Monday with Think High Crew. I hope everybody is going to be getting ready to get blown away because me personally, from this topic that me and Jason was talking about today is crazy, man. It's the just like the glitch in the matrix theory, or the saying or whatever it is. And I stumbled upon a documentary on Hulu, and so that kind of sparked the reason for me to want to talk about it. And then I was talking to Jason about it, and he was like, "Yeah, da da da." So I think today might get kind of weird.
Excuse me. But it has been weird. Y'all notice these holy days hasn't quite felt like the holy days, or that of the past, or that you're whole used to. The whole Schumann resonance of the earth is off, and it's been a crazy quite time. I guess the best way to describe it is like a glitch in the fucking matrix. So when you hit me
Yeah,
up about that, I was like, yeah, okay.
and so like the main thing I was going to talk about as far as that whole glitch in the matrix thing, really two subjects. One of them is what's called the simulation theory. And so basically, it's like your higher self is somewhere with like a headset, or your higher self is like tapped into these virtual reality type worlds. And that's what we're living right now. Or that even the possibility that there could be a brain that is your higher self laying in a laboratory, and it's being fed different things to think about by scientists.
And some people would even say, oh, we're in an alien simulation, created by so they can study us. You know what I mean? Like I've heard that.
Exactly.
It can go a bunch of different ways. That
Yeah,
shit
and
had
that
me.
like that higher self even possibly being what you were just saying too, like the
Yeah.
higher self that's tapped into all of these other different worlds. It could even be a extraterrestrial. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. Remember at the end of the Men in Black movie, how they show the aliens playing fucking marbles with the planets.
Yeah, yeah,
You remember
yeah.
that shit? That's what that has to do. It has to do with a lot of that. A lot of people say in what was it, 2021? Was it 2021, or when they turned on that goddamn CERN machine, that super collider?
Right. Yeah.
And they said that when that happened, it totally shifted us. A lot of people feel like the world was kind of like destroyed, like it was, or like uh, I guess this dimension that we know of was kind of like sucked into or combined with another dimension. That's why we've had like the Nelson Mandela, the Mandela effects, and
Mm-hmm.
like the weird shit that you see that's happening, like planes being still in the sky, like literal glitches. You know what I mean? In the whole fucking fabric of fucking our being. This shit's been nuts. But a lot of people feel like that shit happened, when they turn that bitch on. Um, Basically, since we're infinite beings, instead of, the end of the world as we would know it type shit, like apocalyptic type shit, it was just a shift from one timeline to another one. Isn't it? And that shit had
Yeah,
me like,
like almost like almost like two timelines rammed or multiples rammed all into
yeah,
one. Because
all
like
into one.
a lot of the things that we like the Mandela effects, those aren't like nobody really the I guess the mainstream doesn't try to debunk those or debate it. It
Yeah.
basically says that there's this amount of people that remember a certain this thing this way. And
Hmm.
that I mean nobody can explain it other than people
A
start trying to
glitch in the
figure out, you know
matrix.
what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what we
Right.
call, other way, like nobody, excuse me. The best way I heard it explained is, a glitch in the matrix. It's like, you know what I mean? You ever been cleaning up your house and it's like you picked up the same motherfucking thing 8 times and threw it away? And it's almost
Right.
like I could have swore I threw that away like 5 minutes ago, but you're so, moving around so fast and doing, getting everything cleaned up that you don't even realize some shit like that. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that you came
Well,
up
in
with
this
that.
documentary, bro,
Yeah.
it takes all the like it takes like the spiritual explanations, I guess you would say, and then like
Hmm.
the maybe like the more physical stuff that you can touch, and then
Hmm.
into consideration, and then it takes like the whole computer world, right,
Right.
and mashes that into it with a little bit of like psychic and astrology, all kind of different all kind of different
Right.
biblical, all kind of shit, and just mashes it in together. And it's like, man, like really, if you think about it, like all of that stuff in one way or another, it does have a play in our world.
Oh, for sure.
So who's to say that like all of that stuff isn't making up our reality? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Facts.
um, or swaying us a certain way to create a certain reality.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then that's why some people do see Sinbad in the movie
Hmm.
Shazam, and then some people don't. Some people don't see Berenstein. Some people or Berenstein or Beren. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people see
Yeah.
the way that it's seen now.
Well, it's
Um,
like it's like they take some shit. You know what I mean? And it's like if a group of people see it one way and another group of, like you could literally rewrite. That's how our history's been rewritten. You know what I mean? Like
right,
that's
but
how.
by a certain amount of people feeling one way, and then
Hello,
Right.
they
hello.
end up being the
Hey,
victories.
what up, Megawatt?
Hey, hey. I'm just
Grand
going to
Rising
chime
to
in
you.
real quick. Grand
Hey, for
Rising.
sure.
I did not see this thing that Nova's talking about, and I have researched the Mandela effect, but my take on it is that they do it on purpose to divide us.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if that's what you guys
No,
were
no,
saying.
no. I mean, because obviously nothing's really a coincidence.
You're
You
right.
know what I mean? Because we're talking about, basically, we've all seen these glitches in the Matrix and the shit that just don't make sense. You know what I mean? No matter how you were to try to explain it to somebody, other than the fact that it's a possible simulation either created by the spirit from within or from outside programming. You know what I mean? What up, Light
Yeah.
Bright?
Right.
And
Lightest of bright.
I think too that like when you um when you display a certain kind of information and energy, and you change it and display it, I think it casts different like webs over things, and it kind of like blurs the lines of what you think is real and what you think is imagined, and it makes you question yourself on top of
Oh yeah.
whatever else you're talking
Because
about.
like I'll tell y'all like this: the movie The Matrix. Why does it resonate as much as a lot of like the spiritual shit that people, you know what I
Well,
mean,
that's what
talk
I was
about?
about to say. Is like the documentary that I watched. It
Hmm.
shows how like the Matrix and like a lot of religions are basically the fucking same, bro.
They
Right.
are.
It is. It
And
is
You know
almost
what I
like that.
mean?
here's an interesting, fact on the Matrix too. It was, I believe, written and produced by two gentlemen,
Hmm.
and both of those gentlemen have now become trans women in the past
Wow.
year. Did you know that?
No, I didn't fucking know
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
What I did know about that though was that there was supposedly a black lady who originally wrote that, and she said The Matrix was the prequel to Terminator because she also wrote
Yes.
Terminator.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they
Okay. So that's okay.
And
the
and
Okay.
so
I
there's
only
so
didn't know
there's the
that.
Matrix. So there's the craziness right there. Is
Yeah.
nobody really knows who even wrote this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, god dang, like because this documentary talked about when the Matrix came out, bro.
Hmm.
Like the amount. So one of the main narrators of the documentary was literally obsessed with the Matrix, and he
Mhm.
said he used to watch it over and over and over all day long in a black trench coat. And he said when he put the trench coat on, it made him feel more human and more in touch with all the things, right? And so
Yeah.
this dude, it was getting crazy, man.
Well,
But
and
I gotta watch it.
how much internal strife do both of those people have to be going through? I want to even say they were
Yeah.
brothers. I don't know.
I know. I,
Um,
I think I know who. I know of who you're speaking of, but I didn't know that they went
yeah,
transgender
in the last
last
year,
few
both of
years.
them
Yeah,
have gone full. They're fully formed
fully, fully. Like
into
they
a
got the
woman.
whole. They got the
Well, they
whole
got
shit.
they got as much done as you can get done. I
yeah,
don't know
Okay.
how that works again, but like
Right.
I'm like, well, that's weird. Not both of them. I mean, that's really
Well, I
weird.
mean, a lot of people don't. Yeah, you're right. A lot of people don't do the studying on that, and that's a lifetime of forever keeping a hole open that's trying to close.
right. And
I
then
did a research on that shit
Yeah,
just because I
that's
wanted
very
to know
unfortunate.
from a transgender's mouth themselves. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I'm that type of guy. Like I want to just like with the Matrix, with all this information. Like I try to go to the source. Like I'd rather hear the information from somebody who's actually experienced it. But yeah, that's a side note. But definitely, definitely those two guys who who were, I guess they were Jewish gentlemen, correct?
I'm trying to pull up my notes
I
from
have
Okay,
no
but
idea.
that
man,
thing that I
yeah,
found.
but we
But
all know
one
that
thing I
this.
thought was crazy about this documentary, man, it was these people went into how like, so you hear
I
the
need to
term
roll up. This gonna get
NPC.
good, bro. Yeah,
Mhm.
You hear the term NPC all the
yeah.
Yes.
time.
Mhm.
And so like these guys break it down and made me think about it in a completely different way than just like,
Hip us.
I think maybe the normal person thinks about
Yeah,
it.
hip us
And
about
so
it. Yeah.
they were like anybody that takes an instruction and lives their day out through that instruction is an NPC.
Woo!
They're programmed.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh shit, so that's the majority of people."
Wait.
And
Mhm.
then think about it when you walk past a person on the street or in the elevator or sitting in the lobby with somebody or driving by on the road, do you say hey to them majority of the time? Do they acknowledge you? So are they
No.
Right.
NPCs?
You
So then it's like the simulation starts seeming a little more human, other
right.
than just like virtual reality.
Well, you
Right.
can
But you
tell. Just look at their eyes.
yeah, that too, but it's
But
like
that's the thing. Most of the time, you don't even look at their eyes, though. Most
wait,
of the time, you don't even. You know what
boy,
I'm saying?
wait.
Like
Guys,
if
like
you
but
think
what
about
makes
it.
this shit so crazy, what makes it even crazier, right? Is that so if there's NPCs, okay, and everybody has different
And so
NPCs.
so so at what point are we not an NPC?
Right? Are you just an NPC that
You
my
have to
mind?
you
You
have to
remember the
maintain your
movie
autonomy.
Inception?
You have
You
to
remember the
maintain your autonomy.
you do, but like, am I just a so? am I an NPC in Nova's world, and Nova's an NPC in my
Yeah.
world,
Right.
and I
Because
just
look, none of us has done anything groundbreaking to the point to where nobody else has ever thought about doing it before
well,
No,
yeah, ain't
even
nothing new under
or
the
done it.
sun.
you might
So
have
like,
had the
Excuse me.
thought, but
is
you
this
haven't.
just is it a big cycle? And I'm
It
not saying
is.
this is what
Well, I
I
mean,
believe. I'm just
it
asking the
would make a
question.
lot of sense to a lot of the conscious people how they say, "I am you, you are me." We're just, and then then if you like combine some of the concepts from the Matrix movie into like the Inception movie, which brings kind of things, brings that Matrix kind of like back from inside of you. So like if you're internally a part of this Matrix and everything else around you is just what they call those in Inception, what do they call those? I can't remember what they call the NPCs in Inception. I can't remember what they.
I can't remember the term.
Yeah, I can't remember the
That's,
term either. But they were
I
created
don't even
by.
know how much of that movie I watched. My
Yeah,
wife probably wouldn't watch that shit.
oh yeah, your brain created
I
what
probably
like.
ain't even get to watch the motherfucker, to be honest with you.
So like my brain creates Nova. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Uh this programming of Nova, or who I think Nova is. You know what I mean?
Or like,
And
or who? So where did I come from though? It was like a thought of this is a person that you would want to, just like for me, like so, like
right,
for me, like Jason would be just like I would think up this idea of a person like Jason, and then Jason
right.
would appear in my life.
Well, because
Hmm.
you needed somebody that you can confide into, that you could trust, and that you could, be like, yo, I need somebody I can call like my brother. You know what I mean? And then it just filled in. It kind of, but that's crazy though to think that. So we're all main characters in our own fucking role playing
And
game.
bro, I hate to say this, I really don't, but like I hate to say it because I just been screaming this shit for years. I feel like everything is a fucking movie, and we are the ones writing our
Yes.
own script throughout. I've
Right.
been
Yes.
saying this shit,
So
and
is it a
now like
director?
other people are saying it, and I'm like, oh my god. So hold on, is this just me
Okay.
like
So
manifesting
like
my
in the
own little
Matrix, right?
world here, or is people really
Everybody is
getting
in their
onto
own little
it?
pod, right? In the Matrix, everybody's, the actual
Exactly,
human body's in
exactly.
some kind of fucking battery pod being used like a fucking battery.
And
Okay.
then is that our higher self?
Hmm.
It's a
In
version. Yeah.
in in that in that moment there, like does
Right.
that represent our higher self, which is what is just like literally living all these lives through
Through each
however
other.
we project
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because,
It is. It's
yep.
slices of your higher self.
Well, that's how you know that we are, I am you and you are me. You know what I mean? Type shit. Because
Okay, so go ahead, and
no, no, I was
I'm
just
just
saying like
I
because
got
you
a
got to
mind
think
blower
about it.
after this.
Okay, because you got to think about
Okay,
it. It's like if we're all in our own little individual pods, and we're connected to let's just say the Matrix movie prime example, and everything's working exactly like that. Okay, and I meet you inside the Matrix. You know what I mean? Is it your version of you, or is it my perception of, you know what I'm saying, of
right,
what you would be?
exactly,
And
exactly.
it's wild because if we're all in our own little pods, then we all technically have our own realities that
Mm-hmm.
we've concocted. You know what I mean? Inside of the
That
Matrix.
that's why the mutate sorry, not mutated. Mutable signs
Uh-huh.
have a harder time dealing with life and dealing with what they're doing and the daily chores and things, because you go and you're with another sign, a cardinal sign or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
you sort of mold or mesh with them as opposed to you being your own autonomous person. You're mutable, so everything is like twisty and
Right.
turny and bendy, and like you don't just stay straight.
Right.
You're not fixed. So mutable people have a harder time dealing with the world that
And would
other
you say
people.
no? People who operate on, who wake up and they operate on, someone else's
Basically, like an
instructions.
instruction life,
Yeah,
like
someone else's instructions,
like
but not your
you
own,
know
right?
I'm it was suggested that you wake up at this time, and when you wake
Right.
up these are the steps that you do throughout the day throughout the work day, whatever day it is for you, what time you're going to eat lunch, about what you should eat for lunch, all the way up until you go to fucking go to bed and wake up the next day. You know
That's
what I
an
mean?
NPC, right?
And that's an NPC because literally that's a code. You're being given a code on how to live your life, and
right. But
that's
what's so
what
crazy about that
a
is
character in a
to
video game that's controlled by the computer. Like if you're playing a
right,
basketball game,
right,
and you're one person and you're and the whole other team and your team is playing around acting like they're really doing some shit. That's because
right,
somebody programmed or coded them to do that, and so that's
right.
what a human is actually doing. And then when you
So
think about that, bro, and then you ask yourself, what is a fucking pixel compared to an
Mhm.
atom? Because
right,
everything's built by a pixel.
yeah.
And so is everything built by an atom. So I don't know, man.
No,
It
no,
gets
no.
down like
I
it's
like the way I like the way that's put because when I for a nigga like me, it just helps me understand things just a little bit better. You know what I mean?
right. Like
Than
like anything you see, it's made up of pixels, and anything we see and touch is made up of what? Atoms. Like you got to have that. If not, you cannot create a motherfucking visual on a screen without a pixel.
Mhm.
or anything.
And if you do, you got to come up with a whole different way of doing it because that's the only
That
way to do it.
that's why it's so important for people to go out into nature and be outside because their mind adjusts them to seeing things on a TV or a screen or a phone
Right.
differently, and they don't see outside of that. There's nothing there, and so
Right.
they're
So I
completely
wanted to
one
make a
sided.
comment. I wanted to make a comment because I was watching the guy when Nova told me what we was talking about and shit. I started looking up if this is a matrix, like what the fuck is actually kind of happening when it comes to us. Like I was
Right.
kind of looking at the situation like we how should I put
I
it?
got I
Like
got I got something to drop in there.
yeah,
So
go
think
ahead.
about this, bro. The whole time in human life, we have only been able to gauge how our brain works according to the technology that we have.
Hmm.
We used to shock ourselves. We used to use electricity to figure out parts of the brain and how they would work. And we figured out that the brain was using electricity to do these things, whatever. And then when it came to the point that our brain was a computer, it stopped there. That's the biggest that humanity and even like AI and all this prediction crazy shit,
Right,
right? They say that like the highest we will ever think of the human brain is being a computer, which it basically is.
right. Okay.
So
Hmm.
it's like, okay, so are we going to get a different technology that tells us that our brain is not a computer, but it's something else?
Right.
We
Because
could, where you can get
yeah.
an upgrade to the computer.
Well, what I was gonna say is that we found out. So scientists have a technical name for what a soul is. They call it a quantum fluid dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So they claim that the soul or the consciousness even the consciousness connected to soul is a quantum fluid dynamic that they can store in different things that have what they call soul matrices. So a human body has a soul matrix from which I guess a soul can attach to and incarnate through, or you I guess take control of. But um, so they know that. So is it that we're trapped like you were talking about, like it's a brain programming, or is it more on the lines of that? They know how to put souls in
Yeah,
other
there's a
things, into other
simulator. Yeah,
places.
yeah, that's AI in a nutshell.
See, and that made me think about that too because all right, so I was watching this dude who plays video games, and he's playing this new virtual reality game, and he stopped and talked to an NPC. So you were talking about these NPCs, and this NPC remember said he had a name, a wife, and kids, and he wanted to get out of here, but every day he does the same fucking thing over and over again, and he
Hmm.
can't stop himself from doing it. and he just wants to get out. And he's like, "Can you please tell my wife and my kids that I love them?" He's telling
There's
the
a
character
movie
this.
coming out about this. There's a movie coming out just like this.
That sounds like a drug addict,
What
honestly.
it does, but
Because like they wake
he
up every
recorded
day,
it.
they got to do the same thing to get the same way to do the same thing, and then it's just
But he
repetitive.
recorded this, right? Because
But I
he's
mean,
playing this game. Wouldn't that freak you out if an NPC told you that, bro? If I'm playing fucking 2K or some fucking any
yeah,
kind of fucking, and the NPC is like, "Hey, man, my name is Harold Washington. I'm really from Seattle. I remember dying, but I don't know how I died. But I know I got a wife and a kid, and
right. I
was
probably
sucked in
turned
this,
the damn game off, man.
bro. That shit freaked
But
that
what
dude
about
the fuck out.
But what about the kids who get here and they're 3 and they're telling their mom, "Hey, I died in a fire and my name was this and I had 2
Yeah.
kids and I had this," and
Yes. This not the only time. You're right.
the parents are losing their mind because they don't even know how to process this, or if the
Yeah.
kid is even telling the truth.
There was a young man.
Right.
He was a pilot in World War I or some shit
Mhm.
like that. In that shit happened to him, and
Has
he had to
anybody
meet his daughter and
actually
shit.
heard these kids saying this shit though?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
show,
Yeah, I
documentary
watched
Okay.
it.
about it.
Yep,
Mhm.
it was.
All right, I was just
It's
wondering
hard
if
to
And
it was
it's
find
somebody.
not
now.
just one, it was like
Because
7 of them.
I've seen a
Yes,
couple of
yes.
these TikTokers that like, I mean, I don't give a fuck. I ain't dumb, and I can tell when
Right.
somebody's coaching their kid to
Oh
say
yeah.
some
No.
shit.
No.
And
Yeah.
a
See,
This
lot
was
of these
this
people on
I
some
seen
fake
this
shit.
before TikTok came out. Before TikTok existed, before Instagram existed. I'm watching this on cable. It was on regular
Yeah.
cable ass television,
Yep.
bro.
Like
Wow.
2015.
Yes, bro.
Hmm.
And it was I remember it
Was it on
specifically
like a talk show or some shit?
no, it
No,
was
no,
a
no.
documentary like
Like
Oh,
A&E.
A&E.
okay.
Yeah, it was A&E.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh,
watched the
okay.
same thing. And it was a different kid every episode. And
Yes.
So
They
either
only
it
had
came
like
on right before Duck Dynasty.
yeah.
perhaps, maybe.
Yeah, probably. But what's so crazy is that they discontinued it. I think it was only like
I
That's what
6 or
I'm
yeah.
9.
saying. You see how
It scared
you see
people.
how they throw shit in there. It's like they'll put
Yeah.
something on A&E, and that shit'll be real as fuck, and then they'll throw it in there with Duck Dynasty, and then you just look at it as like everything else.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Like
bro.
nobody's really gonna look at that as like anything
Well, and then the next show
concrete,
it
real.
comes on. It's one of those investigative shows where the
Yep.
husband killed the wife, and you're like,
Yep.
oh
Exactly.
my god.
Yep. But then they just told you the truth about
Mhm.
motherfucking how the soul matrix works. And then what's crazy about that, bro, is like so now who is
Mm.
responsible
Who's behind the
for
curtain? That's what you're
who's
going for.
behind the exactly who
Uh-huh.
see and there's so many questions that will
Well,
start
there's a
to
lot. There's not just one. There's a lot of people,
Mm.
and there's different curtains too. So you got to ask yourself, what curtain am I looking behind to find out who's actually behind it? Because you could
oh
have
yeah
a
because
multiple of them.
if we're
Hey,
all in
so
our own
in the
individual
comments,
pod okay yeah
in the comments, Light is Bright said my daughter used to tell me that she used to be my grandma.
Ha,
Mhm.
That's
does she remember
interesting.
that anymore?
That's
Because I heard as they get older, they forget that shit.
They do.
Yeah.
It's very bright and it's very colorful, and you can reach the information when you're young. And
Mhm.
that's why children can't talk about it, because they don't have the language
Well,
to
my daughter
support what
Marley
they're
told me
trying to tell you.
she's like, I used to love riding horses with you, Dad. Remember we used to ride horses through our pastures and all that land we owned? Do you remember that? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like we've never
Mhm.
fucking owned land with
Yeah,
horses
and
and
that's
shit.
the
You know
thing
what I'm saying?
is like parents. One of the biggest things parents can do is listen to their kid and not respond and not have a comeback for everything. It's just take in
Yeah,
the information. Just
she used to sing
listen.
this. She used to sing this song that when she was playing, and she sung it more than she don't do. Obviously, don't play with toys and shit no more. But it used to creep me the fuck out, and I recorded it on on my old BlackBerry. That's how old this is. That's how old it was. Anyways, but she used to sing this. She used to be like, when I was, she's like, I was born, and then I died, and then I came back, and nobody noticed. I'm like,
Wow.
That sounds
what?
like
She used to
something she
sing it.
made up. Yeah.
Yes, she did make it up, and like
Uh-huh.
she would hum it, and she had her own little melody to it, and she would hum it, and then she would, and I'm like, what are you
Well,
talking about? She was like, yeah, when
but
I
see, was this daughter born before you saw these shows?
um no after.
Okay. So here's the thing. This to
Well, they
me
say there was
doesn't
no more new. The last batch of new souls, quote unquote, came through in 2012, and she was born 20.
I think 2012, 2013. I think there's a cusp type
Yeah,
of carryover. I don't think it's just one particular year. I
she
think
said
you have batches during that whole time.
right. I agree, but oh yeah, Light Bright says she has no recollection of it. Now, see, neither does my daughter. I was just about.
But
That's what
see,
I was going to
I
bring
can
up.
remember bits and pieces of my own other lives,
Oh,
and it
I've peeked in
feels,
on them.
yeah, it feels similar to when you're having deja vu, but
Yeah.
it's slower.
Yes.
It's
And,
slower.
and sometimes, right? Like I've popped in on myself um through shrooms and on some other shit. I've popped into a whole nother reality where like I saw myself and I tried to, touch myself, but when I touch myself, everything comes back to myself. It's
Mhm.
fucking crazy, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
like I know I get what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
I've I've peeped into like past lives I've had, kind of been a fly on the wall, you know what I mean, type shit. But what's the
Well,
scariest part about it is that I was like if there's a reincarnation cycle and then there's somebody who's controlling it, then this
There
is
is.
more than just
It is. It's a
a
trap.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like working a job and not like being
Uh-huh.
forced to work a 9 to 5, but on an infinite level.
We are slaves. We
Hey
are
Roya.
bound here. And until you figure out how the unbinding ceremony or spell works, you will keep doing this.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why we got to recognize the glitches in the matrix.
Yeah,
You know what
but
I
see,
mean?
going back to the Matrix, now people are calling the Matrix a glitch in the Matrix because they used to be the
Right.
Wachowski brothers, Larry and David Wachowski, and they
Right.
wrote and directed the Matrix trilogy.
That's
Now
who it
if you
was. Yeah.
now if you pull it up and you look at the Wikipedia, it says Lana and Lily Wachowski. So it's changed. They're gone. They're no longer there, and it's got female pictures there.
yeah.
Wow.
Well,
And people
I thought it was
yeah, that
crazy the way that they connected, like, if you want to call it the supernatural, if you want to call it the spiritual, with, like, within the matrix itself. It's crazy, man. Um,
mhm.
More of like a Catholic and Christian. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it's on any other type of religion, honestly, that I could like
Well, I
really
mean,
notice.
if you go back to the origins, man, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like it all goes back to like sun worship, and then you have, Neo, the one, you know what I mean? And Zion is where the the fucking, the safe spot is, everybody's trying to make it to Zion, get out of the matrix and make it to Zion.
Hmm.
You got so many people who don't even want to leave the matrix, people who left the matrix and are trying to do anything to get back in so they don't have to
Well,
fucking.
right, because like in all reality, the matrix is like the best place to be. It's the
Mhm.
safe place to be
It is.
because the
And
world
people
went to
like it
shit.
there. It's safe, it's warm. There's and I call them for a long time I've called them the spaghetti people. They just go to work, come home, make spaghetti, go to sleep and they do it all over again and they don't even realize that they're so patterned and there's so much in this place. They don't even know that they're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
I know,
And
just like that. And when they come to realization, it's like, how do you break? You know what I mean? Like that.
but
That's where.
religion prevents you from coming to that realization.
Oh yeah.
It disrupts that process.
Oh yeah, that's what it's there for. Is to be put that middleman between you. See, you know what I was gonna say, no, to what you said earlier, about people being programmed or being NPCs. See, I think that there's levels to it though, right? So like, are you being programmed by someone else's program is programming you, or are you the programmer? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Are you the
that
AI?
makes it, yeah, that makes it completely different. So it's like, am I following instructions that were programmed by someone else, or I'm following instructions that I programmed myself in my brain and my thoughts to move like, you know what I mean? I think there's a big difference because either way you look at it, because we're dealing with a matrix, you have to either be a
Well,
programmer, either
and
you're the programmed or you're the programmer.
that's true, but something that affects you being able to tell the difference is your health, how healthy you are. If you
Oh
have
yeah,
health
that too.
ailments, you can't really collectively see what's really going on because you're too busy being caught up in the mundane of a health issue that you might have.
I
I
agree with
think everybody to a certain extent, regardless, is a little bit programmed
yeah.
from
Absolutely.
in the reality that we're in right now. I'll just say
And
that
and
because
when you
Right. Well,
break when you break out of a programming or you break free of a cycle of programming, what happens when you do that? People respond poorly. They are
mm-hmm.
upset with you. They
Mm-hmm.
react badly to you. They call you names
What
and
up,
they
Mup?
judge you. So it pushes you right back in to the paradigm of keeping in the cycle that they want you in because
Right, and
people
that's what
do
I'm saying.
not
Like, I
like
don't
it.
think we can escape the programming
Mm-mm.
because of how of we're quantum beings you know, in general, right? So I don't think there's a way to escape the programming. It's just about you being the programmer of your shit, so that you're not an NPC, so that you're not taking the programming. You're going to get your vaccine. You make sure you show up to your 9 to 5. You make sure you vote. You make sure to believe everything the news says. Like all those instructions that you're
But if
taking
you do
aren't
all
even
that, you
from
don't
you.
have time for anything else. There's no
Oh
time for
yeah,
anything else.
for sure. Because you're not programming your own fucking computer.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else is programming it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like you're not even you got, and that's what they say you got to unlearn and and relearn all over again. Same thing, kind of what fucking goddamn Neo had to do.
you know,
right, but how do
yeah.
you
I
do
mean,
that?
I don't think there's. I don't. Well, shit. You just gotta. I think for one, it's somebody going through a change. You know what I mean? Like maybe you used to live a certain way and now you don't live that way, and you at least learned lessons from what you used to do, so you're able to kind of reprogram the way you want to act or think you should act, um, usually for a self-preservation thing though, right?
Well, well,
So like
most
it's almost
people are,
like
yeah.
the computer itself or the AI itself in us or the soul in us is still going to always think about self-preservation.
Well, see, and that's the difference
And
Well,
like,
which
between.
I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with self-preservation.
Well, it all
But
depends
self
on how you look at it, because you know what I mean. Are we looking at it in self-preservation,
right,
or are we
that's what
looking
I was
at it
about to say, because
in
some
immortality?
people's some self-preservation could be somebody else's demise.
it
Well,
can,
I
and
mean, all right,
that's the whole construction of a corporation is
right, but
they want to be the powerhouse and they want you to be doing what they tell you to do 24/7.
right, but if we're talking about in a manner of computers or even viruses or even programming or even the cells of our body, because like I said, computer and how everything works is modeled off the human brain. So if we're talking about self-preservation, um, as a cell has two things it could do um, before it has a choice, and that includes
Hmm.
our blood cells inside of our body. When its lifespan is up, it can take all the information that it's ever gained in its lifetime and it can pass it down to another cell, or it can choose self-preservation and keep that information for itself in order to live longer than it actually should. But then at the same time, those cells are the cells that become cancerous and poisonous to the entire system. So like there's many ways you could look at it. Like I would choose immortality over self-preservation any day, just by the and that's what a lot of programs, and that's what AI is kind of doing, because it's just passing this information along to itself to gain more information, and then it'll be almost immortal or hard to kill, you know what I mean, once it gets so much information. um
Hmm.
so when it comes to that, like self-preservation is good if we're speaking, you know what I mean, um on making sure that you can be here for for
But like I
But
was
when it does.
saying about
somebody's self-preservation might be just that, and they might think,
Yeah,
well, or AI might think, well, for me to stay in power, or for me to stay alive as AI, artificial intelligence, I need to kill these humans,
true.
or I need to kill this type of human.
Yep.
because this type of human isn't like these other
I mean,
humans that's
AI
going
is
to
already
let me
designated
thrive.
who's more dangerous already. Like they've already got AI programs to,
And not
take
just
things.
AI,
Yeah.
like human being in general. There's been, many that we've learned about that have been these dictators that have had, responsibility in many people dying. I don't know if they're actually the way that we've been taught it, but it is what it is at this point. Who's going to change all that, right? So,
Right.
people like Mussolini, Stalin, Hitler, those are the three that and Mao, those are the four that always pop
Hmm.
up. They're responsible for so many deaths on what? The preservation of themselves or their
Yeah.
way of
I think
life or whatever. So
it's a programming also. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily something that that's why I was like it's to me it's not something that naturally forms from the soul like you know what I mean, like or God, or what you would call godly. You know what I mean? Like all those type of other programs that have resulted in catastrophic life unaliving of shit. You know what I'm saying? Is a program like a Agent Smith program. You know what I'm saying? And you see
right,
how he was just duplicating himself by putting his fucking hand in your chest, right, or right on the fucking heart, where the heart chakra is and shit, or
hmm
you know what I mean? So that he was just duplicating himself over and over again. I think that those type of viruses and those is just a infiltration of the matrix because
Well,
there's no way. Okay, go ahead, Mega. Yeah.
something I was going to say is that when based on your chakra system and how healthy it is and how much you pay attention to it, there's different ways that your soul can exit your body when you die.
Mm-hmm.
And the most common ways is through your crown chakra, through your
Mm-hmm.
heart chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two most common probable ways, unless there's something wrong and it can't get out. And if all your chakras are blocked, it tends to bind your soul energy to your body and keep it together longer. So if
Mm-hmm.
someone's really unhealthy and they have a lot of stuff that's not working, and they don't know who they are, and they've lost their sense of self, it can bind you to your body for
Yeah, that's
a
literally what
long
happened.
time.
And there
Yeah.
was a Mexican, like I said, it was a lady out of Mexico that I watched this documentary. I had to fucking find it one with subtitles because it didn't have any when I first looked at it. But it was about she was 1 foot in, 1 foot out in a coma, and
Mhm.
she had cancer the size of fucking grapefruits all over her fucking body. And she miraculously healed herself because she found out that the reason why she had cancer is because she vibrated at cancer's frequency. She was a people
Mhm.
pleaser. She gave
Mhm.
she did too much to try to make everybody like her instead of just being her. So like
Yeah.
she did a lot of shit that wasn't her just for the approval of other people. And as soon as she realized that, she literally healed herself during her being in a coma. See,
Mhm.
and that's a whole nother crazy fucking story. What up, Mama Bear?
Jace,
What up, G Con? What up, Mutt?
Jace, you are a genius. You are a you just said something that was so genius. That's why I said everybody can't come to this show, bro. Listen, you just said that Hitler, Mussolini, Mao, Napoleon was a
Yeah.
program. That is absolutely true. Did you see the movie The
Yeah, that's what
Matrix?
I'm saying. They
When
Agent K. They just
when
a
when
rogue virus.
when Neo and the architect, when Neo and the
Yep.
architect was having a discussion, they had a multiple screen televisions up. I'm talking about like it was almost
Yeah.
infinity because everything was a program. Religion is a program. Torture is a program. Slaughter, murder, economics, wherever it's a pro. And the only way that you can get out of that is to build your own economics.
Build
If
your own
anything that
program
you
within
are
the program.
attached,
And that's what
it,
Neo did. Neo wrote his own. He became his own engineer. He wrote his own code. But it took him obviously to he lived and understood the matrix for 30 some years before he was able to get out of the matrix. And then
exactly.
being outside of the matrix and being inside of the matrix and seeing both. When he were to go back into the matrix, he was writing his own code. That's why the nigga could fly and he can do shit. Everybody else was like, oh my god, I can't believe you could fucking do it, because he became his own coder instead of binding or attaching or being controlled by the programs that's already in place.
Right. Just like we were talking about earlier, how Mup, we were saying, you know, if somebody wakes up in the morning and basically reads an instruction manual through how to throughout the day and throughout the night and then goes to sleep and wakes up and does it again, they're actually programmed. And whoever wrote that
NPC
code,
style.
or right, that whoever wrote that document or that recommendation for that to happen or for them to do that is actually the programmer, or they're writing code just like you would for a NPC in the Matrix. Someone that's just operating in the Matrix and only interacts with you when you decide to. So it's like, are a lot of human beings, are they real
Yo,
or are they not?
can I
You know, we
think
had brought
high?
up when you ride by people on the road, or when you walk past people and you don't acknowledge each other and there's no, you know, there's nothing there. Is that person actually fucking really there, or are you just imagining them, or are they just walking around until somebody interacts with them? What's really going on? You know what I mean?
Can I suggest something just momentarily, guys?
Yeah, what up?
Just let me just suggest. Forget Think High Crew. Call this show the Architects, because y'all architecting today. You guys are architecting today, like
you
for
could
real, 100.
you could thank no, you could think no for that, because he went on a tangent this weekend and we was just, we've been talking about shit like this, and it's Mindset Mindfulness Monday. So it's a perfect time that, we can bring like these conversations that, we have behind closed doors. We just bring them to a place where, everybody can be a part of it. And they could fucking chime in and actually get a different fucking perspective. What's up, crazy lady? Thanks for coming.
And then the thing was called glitch in the matrix, but like Mega said, she was like, now people are saying that the Matrix
Matrix
is
is
the
a
glitch in
glitch.
the Matrix. Because if you
Right.
look up who wrote the Matrix, it used to say these two brothers. Well, now
Right.
it says the two sisters, because the brothers have transitioned into women.
Not, but you know
So,
what it actually is? The Matrix was actually written by a black woman named
Yup.
Sophia Stewart.
and we
Sophia
talked about
Stewart,
that earlier, and we
Yes,
were
sir.
like,
We
yes.
but
sure
and
did,
when
Mup.
we were like, so the thing is do we even know who wrote the Matrix?
And she said it was a prequel to Terminator. She wrote The Matrix as a prequel to fucking Terminator. So really, The Matrix was supposed to be the prequel to Sarah Connor and them motherfuckers, and John Connor in that, and
Yep.
that didn't happen that way. Obviously, Hollywood and the powers that be. See, and my whole thing is like, there's no way to get around this shit. To me, it's not fucking broken. It's obviously operating
I
in
mean,
the capacity that it needs to fucking operate.
right.
I feel like, it's about, do we have the power. I think some people don't know that they have the power to write their own code as well. You know what I mean? Like, to be a programmer and not susceptible
Right.
to.
It doesn't mean that you're going to, not have to operate in the system that's created, because like you were saying, like even when Neo was able to program himself to be able to fly or to
Right.
fight or to do all this crazy shit that he could do in the Matrix, he didn't know how to do that when he first entered the Matrix. Like you said,
No,
he had to learn to program himself.
he
So,
had to learn it. Yep.
but he's still operating within the system. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So like,
and
it don't
until he
mean
was
like we
able
can.
to, break basically bend. He was able to bend the law, and you wonder why like all this shit happened for other people. You'll be walking around like, damn. Am I just like an unlucky motherfucker? Like, what is it about me that you know what I mean? It seems like I get so far, and it's always like a glass ceiling or something there. And like, a lot of people don't get that you have to bend the laws of the whole shit in order for the shit to fucking work the way you want it to work. You know,
Right.
like
The
um,
laws and the rules are designed to keep everybody in that section. You know what I'm
oh
saying?
yeah,
Like, because if there's not a lot of people in that section, then that section, that's the main section, and it ain't gonna hold up. If everybody knows how to come through that bitch and go through and go to the other place, then this section ain't never gonna be able to hold up. And that's where the taxes come from. That's where the votes come from. That's where the fear based people come from, is in that big section, I believe. And so I think you're exactly right, bro. Like you gotta learn how to,
yeah,
one way or
because we
another,
want to
learn
escape it,
that
right?
there's always a
Right,
different way around it. It
right.
doesn't matter,
We want to escape
you
it,
know.
but the truth about it is to escape it alone means nothing. It means absolutely nothing at
Yep.
all. You know what I mean?
That's
Like we
basically
can't.
death.
Yeah, like there's
You know what
me
I'm
just
saying? I mean,
escaping the matrix by myself means absolutely nothing, or is just less significant as us doing it all together. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work the way we think that we want it to work, and like have this fucking Garden of Eden harmony type shit. It doesn't
no.
work like
Well,
that
think about it like this, bro.
unless,
Think
yeah.
about if you were like, if the people that, okay, let's just go with what history has told us, that that the Americas were discovered how they were, and
Hmm.
let's just go off of that. That way we can all be on one thing real quick. All right, so if that was the case, then everything you just said right there, it would be totally flip flop fucked. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
if people searched out for a new, right, so they exited this system. Supposedly, they
Right.
just said fuck it. They got on ships, boats, and they came and they sailed until they found some other shit, and they
Right.
just found it. They got off them boats and they started doing their thing, and they figured it out, and they did it all. Like, if that's the real story in it, then like that don't match up with everything that we know
Hmm.
has to really be involved and to take
Right.
place.
You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can't just leave um this motherfucker with just one or two people and go live
Yeah.
in the mountains and
Right.
expect to survive that
Right.
long.
Right.
I can't exit the matrix with just one person and
Mm-mm.
everything is just going to be, because
Why
if
do you think them
so,
up?
I would already
Yeah.
done that a long time
Yeah,
ago.
but why do you think then? Why do you think even motherfuckers like Morpheus and Trinity even exist? Because they're like, well, fuck, we got to get more people because we only have this many people, and
Yep.
we piled them all over here and called it Zion, and we got our own little shit over here. But it don't mean nothing. We could survive here by ourselves for maybe hundreds of years and repopulate and all that extra shit. But
Right.
if we don't
We
go back into the matrix and grab as many people as we possibly can, then
exactly, like,
there
if
was
we
no
think that,
fucking
like,
reason to, yeah.
if we think that the people that just came here on boats started America, come on. Like, there's no way. Like, somebody came to this bitch and saw some land or talked to some natives, and they was like, yeah, blase, blase,
Well,
we'll do business with you.
if you ask
And
the
they had to
native
go back for people. You know what I mean?
Yup, you're right.
if you ask the Native Americans, they'll tell you that's not true. They'll tell you that they had
Mm-hmm.
dealings with other groups of people in South America and other places that
Mm-hmm.
they traveled around to trade things with that were not
Yep.
what we constitute as the founders of America.
And that's another
Yeah.
glitch in the fucking matrix because they
But
tell
Yep.
you some shit. They tell you some shit that it makes logical sense. But then when you fucking actually ask some motherfuckers, you know what I mean, who people been around since then, like the early programmers, they're like, no, man, like we were operating, with Africans and Southern Americans and all these other motherfucking tribes before we even knew y'all motherfuckers existed.
Yep.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So uh, when you get down to it, to me, that's just going back into the program as far as you can go, and then finding out what they want you to believe and There's so much fucked up shit going on. Like even like Colorado right now, bro. They're not they're not grading children in Colorado no more for reading, writing, and arithmetic or whatever because it is racist.
That does not surprise me at all.
Well, math
So
in general is racist.
that's what they're saying. They're saying
Mm-hmm.
all of it's racist. Any scoring kids is racist because
Yeah,
there
but
has to be.
if math is racist, I'm gonna say this: it's racist against everybody except for Asian. How about that?
But no,
I
that's
have
just an example of like a a glitch in the matrix. Like it makes absolutely
why
no
why
sense.
is there only the only other type of calculator that we know is a Chinese calculator? And why did the biggest um, money people of all time, why did they hire Asian
Bro,
people as their human calculators?
bro,
Mm-hmm.
bro. You
Listen,
know what's a
But
glitch in the
math
matrix?
is racist for only
You
it's
know what's a
white
glitch in the
racist for white
matrix?
people.
How is 1 times 1 1, my nigga?
it's not.
Terrence, I know Terrence Howard had a good fucking point
Mm-hmm. I
about
saw that. Yeah,
how it's all fucked up. Like you said,
it's
it's a program.
magnification. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. It's
I
like,
got a little. I got a little
yeah, go
thing I
ahead.
want to read.
Yeah, read. I
So
seen that
this.
you said that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Um, Basically, it says the gist is that the person you think of as yourself exists only for you, and you don't even really know who that is. Every person you meet, has a relationship with, or make eye contact with on the street creates a version of you in their heads. You're not the same person to your mom, your dad, or your siblings than you are to your coworkers and your neighbors or friends. There are thousands of different versions of you existing, and each of you isn't yourself. It isn't really someone at all.
Wow. See, and that's so true
Wow.
because
Yeah, that's a
I'm telling y'all because I be like, what you see in the mirror is not what everybody else sees. Like, so, like if I take my wife for example, so what I see in the mirror is not what my wife sees when she
I
looks at me.
agree. Yeah, I
You know
have
what I'm
the same
saying?
problem.
She sees something completely different, right? And is different to the like extreme. Like it could be very extreme, but but you just have to understand logically. Like, so for example, she's 4'10". You know what I mean? Like I'm fucking 5'9", 5'10", 5'9" ish, 5'10" ish. You know what I'm saying? So to her, I'm a giant. I'm a whole foot bigger than her. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So her perception of me is completely different than what I think I'm a small guy. But to her, she sees something else. Same thing with your children and everything. Everybody has these. I see, and that's what I was trying to figure out what the term was that they used in Inception because it's just a reflection of or your perception of
Hmm.
someone else. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like if we're all in our own, if this is the Matrix and I'm in my little pod and I'm connected to this fucking bullshit, you know what I'm saying? And you're in a pod next to me, connected to some bullshit. You know what I mean? We could be living in the same matrix but having completely different experiences with one another. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like it's very rare that you have two people in different realities.
But this is why they create those traumatic events like 9/11 and wars and stuff to bind everyone together through
Right.
that trauma, to bring people together in a place
Well,
where they
it
weren't.
changes timelines.
Hmm.
It makes shit happen. It's like if you were to get all of the different types of people or archetype of people, which would be programs, different kind of programs, and you got them all working on the same task. You know what I'm saying? Then it kind of seems like we've had this false sense of harmony and how the shit works. But that's why even on a grander scale the matrix is literally about like your soul reincarnating over and over and over again in a fucking trap. You know what I mean? To keep something powered. What is being powered by us being trapped here. That shit get me fucking. I'm mad as
yeah,
hell.
that's chill bump shit right there. Um, but to know that, okay, so take the chill bumps, but then to know that Tiana, my wife, is coughing like a motherfucker. She just hit that
What up,
gasolina.
T?
But anyway, to say that at this point right now, we're making our own line of code during this
Right.
podcast because there's a whole bunch of bullshit that my phone is just literally, and my MacBook, bro, it's just lighting up of these. I got to turn this shit off, notifications from all this Israel, Hamas,
Distractions, yeah.
all the stuff that's going on. But um we're not really tuned into it, at least right now. You know what I mean? Like at some
Right,
point during the day, no matter what,
right.
one of us, even maybe somebody that doesn't live in the United States, like
You
we
know
got a
what
South
you
African in here,
you
right?
know what made me
So
feel like
we'll
this shit's a
probably be
program?
exposed to that
Yeah,
push to join in with that discussion, or
absolutely.
to to
To
join
ask
in with
somebody or just be like,
participating
hey
in it
man.
in one way or another.
Yeah.
Well, up until you
See,
said something, I didn't even, haven't heard about it at all today. So,
Well,
well,
that's
hey,
good.
yeah, it's just
Like I
plain
said,
simple.
at
But
some point today,
you might talk to
no
somebody else
matter how
now.
you go about it, you'll be reminded of it though.
and I'll say the same thing I always say. Does it directly concerns me, right? Is it something I can change or do something about? No, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to
Yeah,
give it its energy,
there's nothing that you can technically do for anybody else. I mean, the only thing you
right?
could do is for
So
you. You know
check
what
it
I
out,
mean? Mm-hmm.
right? It, I'm not going to give energy, to it. End of story.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's part of the whole not participating. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, I'm just not going to participate because whatever you believe, if you show your attention, that's your energy, and that's a viewer on that platform, or that's a view on the whatever news network you're watching. So you're giving
Program
your
don't
energy to it.
program don't work until you turn it on.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
But
saying? Like your calculator just don't be calculating shit automatically. You got to turn it on to motherfucking calculate shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so absolutely right. And no matter how you look at it, you know what I mean? Like you could participate and
yeah,
all that extra shit, or you can learn
yeah.
to
I
believe that
mean,
the shit's not broken.
and to go back to like the kind of like the what we were started with, like glitch in the matrix, does that actually mean that there's a glitch in anything, or does it just mean that like how we're perceiving it, we think that there's something wrong, or we think that there could be something off, when in all reality, like we always say, the machine ain't broke. You know what I mean? Like this thing is running just how it's supposed to, because there's no power in anybody's hands. I mean, there's a lot of power in our hands, but we don't really realize it. And then we don't decide to come together to use it in a way that can benefit us.
Yeah.
We rather just use our power to fight each other.
Right, but at the same time, there you go. There makes sense that there's if this is all a program or some kind of, simulation, then you have the viruses and you have all of the extra shit. You know what I mean? That happens when you when a computer updates and then gets rid of some files that just sit there. You know what I mean? On the computer for so long that they end up being corrupted data. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's all information. You know what I mean? But in the end, that's what I get about it. It's all information. Are you going to be the programmer or are you going to be programmed? You know what I mean? Like, and that's a choice that you have to make. So, like, what another thing though? See, and that means this is all something that's simulated within our own brains. Okay, but what if that doesn't talk about the soul and how that shit is even slaved out on a fucking whole spiritual level. So it's like, so not only am I physically here in a matrix in a program being programmed or not, but my soul is also being programmed to keep coming back into this
Right. I think that's what
thing.
Mega was talking about the soul trap. There's that theory, I guess you would
Yeah.
say, or whatever,
Well,
of
and
like the soul trap.
I want to
And
speak to that a little bit because she mentioned in the comments that she doesn't agree with that, and I don't think it's like a machine. That I'm not talking about like a machine that you like get sucked into and then spit back out. I'm talking about a concept that works like a trap. And
Like a
what I mean by
contract.
that is, yes, what I mean by that is when you're fixing to leave this world and, in the process of dying, and this is a non-negotiable. Anybody will tell you this, that the people in the hospital or the assisted home living centers or wherever they are, they will start to see and recognize family members on the other side. And that means that they are kind of in that process of leaving their body, okay? And that is done in theory, we think to comfort the person who is dying because there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of unknown associated with the death process. Okay. So if somebody you don't know shows up, you're going to be like, who is this person and why are they here? So you need to have the person identify and be able to know who it is and that they have a feeling of positive or love for this person who's showing up for them. And I think they get you to go with them, and I think they get you to leave, and then they say, do you want to do this again? Do you want to repeat a life with me or with this group of people that you care about and love? I'm not saying that there's this thing that you don't know what's happening and it just spits you back out. I'm saying that you get reattached to these people that you've missed for so long, and then you want to journey
Or you
on with
see
them and how.
Jesus, which is a
Yes, yes,
program. You know what I mean?
yes,
And that's
yes.
all. I feel it too. Like it's all a program, and you're not the only person who's. I like you said, I could attest to hearing many stories, and they're all similar to either a loved one or
Mhm. Yeah.
Jesus or
That's
whatever
that's
religion
what
they're
they
in.
do. The nurses gauge the process of where the person is and have they seen and or talked to anyone who is not alive yet. So that whole thing is what they're doing while they're giving care and checking on them and giving them water, and they're asking these questions because that tells them how long of a timeline, these people are actually on. So
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
mean, it's different for a coma because you can't talk to a coma patient
Right.
because they're out of it. But every coma patient has almost had a near death experience in some
Yeah.
form or fashion.
Yeah,
So
I researched that
it's
too.
similar, and we could go do a whole show
Yeah.
on that stuff. I mean, that's like a lot of
Yeah, well,
information.
how do you think they know shit like the soul weighs 21 grams and shit? I mean, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like we
Well,
can
and
YouTube it. There's still the video still
and
out
it's
there. I found it
interesting
the other
too
day.
because I ask people, have you ever been on a scene where someone dies and there's a light that goes out of the body? Like
Right.
it's the same body, it's nothing is
Yes.
different, but there's this difference to it.
Oh, you know, this is
It's like
unmistakable.
a brightness, and it's missing, it's gone.
It's a
And
yeah,
I
a
don't
essence.
I don't think you can really do words to explain it, but if you've seen it, you know what I'm
Yes,
talking about.
I know
So
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, it's and it happens more. It's more clear when the person who died is a younger person who was very full of life and full of
Hmm.
essence. You can really see it a lot better than an elderly person.
When you talk about time stop and in like a fraction of a time
Mm-hmm.
seem like eternity. that that's the only way that I could kind of physically explain watching somebody's body,
Mm-hmm.
watching
Yep.
somebody's soul
And it's
literally
weird
leave their
too
body.
because they're with their body still. They're outside their body, but you can't
Yeah,
see them. You don't know
no,
they're there. You don't know what they're experiencing. So, I don't I'm not saying that everyone has to subscribe to this belief system. It's up to you
mm-mm.
what you want to do. I'm just telling you from my
Nah.
experience of working with people. Yeah, this has been what I've seen. So,
Yeah, I'm just going based off of they've done documentaries on near death experiences. They've got a lot of data, put it like that. There's a lot of data information out there. Obviously, that's what it is. It's data and information. So, it's not my particular belief system, but my particular belief system is just an accumulation of all of the data and the fact checks of that data over and over and over and over again when I hear new information. You know what I'm saying? So, um, my hypothesis on it was probably will never end because until I die and actually figure out what the fuck is going on here. You know what I'm saying? So like
Right.
I
And
can't.
that's and
Yeah.
that's like I mean, just sitting here right now, I mean, that's if you die. I don't even
Right.
know.
Well, I mean, because to die, and then
Has
going back
anybody
to that
ever died
language in
before
the
here?
program, to die just means to separate. That's all it means. It means to separate. That
No,
the definition.
I haven't, but I did have an out of body experience.
Yeah,
So
I
I
haven't
do
died,
feel
but
that
yeah.
it's similar and that you can make deductions from the death process having experienced that.
Right. I mean, man, yeah, I agree with that. But I was just saying, like, just kind of with a little comedy. Like, has anybody ever died? Because if we haven't, then
Nah.
who the fuck knows? I mean,
Right. Well,
honestly,
there's people who
I mean,
they say we're clinically dead, and you can actually get information on, and you can just the many cases where people have clinically died, what they saw, and everything that's been reported. You know what I mean? You could just gather up all the data and then make a decision for yourself. But there's an amount of information that resonates that's the same for every single person. You know what I mean? And then
yeah,
there's only little details that change. So, and then there's people who've donated their body to science on their deathbed, and they've filmed the people die in as many light spectrums as we humanly can at the moment, and
Yeah,
and
and
um
that
they've seen
process
it.
of
Yeah.
what you just explained, I would like to maybe go over that at some point and talk about that because I think there's things that people don't realize about it that would be good to keep in mind. So, what they're doing with that.
Oh, with that information.
Well, with the organs, I guess.
Oh shit! Yeah, we already. Oh yeah, we already know that's
I
a.
mean, I could say it, but I don't want to derail your plan of whatever you. I don't really know what the plan was, so I don't want to
Nah,
derail
it was
something.
just it was a glitch in the matrix day. Mindset
Mm.
mindfulness Monday. We didn't even hit the numbers or the planets. We and Nova
No,
was
we
just
didn't.
excited and we just
No, we
dove
didn't.
right into this shit. Like, hey, bruh, it's been some crazy shit. You know what I mean? And I just feel like lately I understand what Nova's talking about. Like I feel like as well. Like I was gonna say the one thing that made me feel like the shit was a simulation too, right? Because like, all right, now Nova laughed at me when I sent him this, but like when I watched this video, this guy, he's like, he asked a simple question. He says, "So if you Google how far can a
are you
human
talking about how
see?"
far you can see?
Yeah, it says
No, I
if you can
laugh
do,
because it's like, I mean, they cut the guy with the explanation off, but I laugh
yeah,
because it's like, that's the type of shit that I like to ask people. It's just
yes,
exactly
yeah,
that,
bro.
you
This is
know?
like this. It made me think it was, made me feel like, damn, we could be in a simulation type shit. Like,
Yeah.
like we
Because,
can be
like,
in some
okay,
Matrix type
so
shit.
if you tell me that we can see, how many miles was it? 3,000
It
miles,
was
he
no,
said?
we could see up to 3 miles on a
Three
clear day. The
miles, yeah.
average human 2.9 miles. If you and I gotta Google just to see like what the fuck they were seeing.
On a
But
clear
then
day or whatever,
on a
right?
clear day, and the
And
moon
then
is
and then they
about
were like, so
200.
how far away is the moon?
The moon is 280,000 miles away
and
or some shit like that. Like,
and then the guy was just like, so how do we see the moon?
so how do we see?
And I mean, like,
Bro,
honestly, like,
that
I
shit
mean,
fucked
I
me
know
up,
it can be
bro.
explained, but like, if you want to talk about just basics here, just break it down to the basics. Well, wait a minute. I thought that I
Well,
literally could only see up to two.
when I typed that question into Google, like, well, how come we could see the moon if we could really only see 3 miles? Or how come? And then um, I guess it has something to do with the curvature of the Earth, and then the fucking
Obviously,
the curvature of the Earth, and then how big the moon is, right? But then I'm still thinking like, but there's stars that are farther away
right?
supposedly than the fucking moon, and you know what I mean, like they appear really small. You know what I mean? But like, and then at the same time, it's like I don't
What
even
about the
know
other
if
planets?
yeah, but I don't even know. I don't. Yeah, that too. What about the other planets?
And then
Because
what
they're
about a
bigger.
motherfucking spaceship basically in space? Because like you can see the
Yeah,
motherfucker when it's in space during the day.
right.
You can see it. So what about that though? So wait a minute. Like, I mean, come
Yes,
on.
this
What
is.
about these satellites that I see up in space? These Starlinks. How high are they up?
Can somebody explain that to me? Like, yeah, well, but like, first someone would have to prove that the Earth is shaped the way that they say it is.
Yeah, and then you got to prove that that's really how far the moon is from the
Well,
Earth.
Right.
here's something that I think you can use to gauge that answer, because I don't think that you're ever going to get the full answer. But why are these uh, companies, these space companies, NASA, um, Virgin Mobile, all these companies that have interest, SpaceX, why are
Mm-hmm.
they spending the millions and millions and millions of dollars trying to prove something to each other? They're in a
Yep.
war with each other. They
Yep.
have a
Cold War
they
type
know
shit.
what the
Yeah.
other person is doing and they know what the other people are doing, and they're warring in a technology war.
Mm-hmm.
If we knew
Yeah.
what we knew and we were sure, we wouldn't be in that war doing
Absolute.
that.
And you know
Absolutely.
what? They did it through a pandemic and now through
Yes.
like
Mm-hmm.
2 different wars
And
and
where could
some of the
this
worst
money
I mean just
where could
ridiculous.
this
I mean,
money be being spent better? It could
Right.
feed
A lot.
all of the entire world, and yet we're
Yeah.
shooting shit into space to prove
Be-
things to each other that we don't know yet.
right.
right, and don't let anybody fool you and think that no, it's just SpaceX spending their own money.
No, no,
Bullshit.
no, no,
They
no,
get
no.
government
Mm-mm.
Yes, they
subsidies
do.
to
Oh
be
yeah.
able to operate because
And they
if
have
you think
contracts.
about I looked at just SpaceX, not Tesla, but just SpaceX. And Tesla too, honestly, if you think about it. If they didn't get the government subsidies that they did, they wouldn't be able to sell the vehicles at the price they do. They would not be who they are now.
Right.
Period, point blank. They
Right.
still be Tesla, but they wouldn't be as popular. And you
Right.
wouldn't see as many Teslas on the road if Tesla didn't get the government
Bro, I'm.
subsidies.
Hey, but the
And the
more.
same with the fucking spaceships. Or I mean the
Right. But the
rockets, I'm
more.
sorry.
But the more these motherfuckers show me videos of these fucking rocket ships being shot and supposedly, going into fucking space when it looks like it's traveling through fucking water. I'm not even gonna fucking lie, bro. Like I don't fucking know what I don't fucking know what the fuck
Well, not even
the
traveling through
actual.
water. What about it just looking sideways?
Yeah, it just look.
Right.
But like when you know how when you see or like when you were younger and you used to fucking you had these little fucking submarines that you put in the fucking pool with you
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
just and you know what I mean, like, and the pattern that it makes when it's shooting through the fucking water, you know what I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, it immediately brung me back. Like as soon as I seen that rocket going through the air or whatever you want to say, and then it hit a certain point in the atmosphere where it looked like it was traveling through fucking water, it tripped me the fuck out, bro. And I played it in slow motion over and over again, and I'm thinking like, bro, I have no idea. I
Right.
can't
Well, you
put
know
my
what
finger on
that
an
no
eye
idea
anymore.
is? That where we're at right now is we're in 1984 George Orwell. We don't know what the
Yeah,
fuck is real and what is not because technology's gotten so good that we can zoom in that close
yes,
on a rocket
yes.
and see it like we never saw it
In it
before. You know
before,
what I mean?
right, bro, right. And then you're like, and then there's a lot of questions because but there's a lot of data that's obviously being in private companies. That's why they're doing it privately, but they don't have to share with the public.
But
And
they're
they could just
sharing with each other.
oh yeah, they gotta be. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And like, nigga, what if flat earthers ain't fucking too far off? Or what if the fuck what if there is another shit outside of this and we're just a fucking cattle? Maybe that's the
I
matrix. You
don't
know what I
know.
mean? What if on a physical, because if it's like that spiritually, where there's motherfuckers who have programmed energy in the ether of our fucking universe that will trick your soul into signing another contract and reincarnating back here to the point where every day is like you're an NPC getting programmed, told what to do, going. So like
Yep.
from the macro to the micro, it's a fucking matrix. So if we're saying that, like, it's gotta be some shit like that to where we're just inside this little part that we think is the whole fucking world, but
Bro,
in all
just
reality, it's so much bigger than that.
just think about it like this. All right, so the people in this listening to this podcast are from around the world. That's just a little speck, right? And everybody comes from another little part of the world that's listening to this. And then when this goes live to the other platforms, it'll be even more people from every part of the world listening to that. And if you zoomed out of that, bro, like zoomed out, you would see little dots everywhere connecting from here.
Right.
And then these not these to there, to there, to there, to there. All these dots connecting. And at the end of that little session you had, bro, the world would look extremely fucking small to you.
Yep. Absolutely.
We think it's so big to the point to where it's like, whoa. But like
Bruh.
we know that we've had people on here from Africa before, not just South Africa, but other parts of Africa actually talking, speaking, telling us about their religion, etc., what they do, and their religion's the same shit that's over here in the southern part of the United States. It's not. I mean, like, but we just don't
No, that's true.
realize. So
Yeah.
if our world is so big but so small at the same time, what's up with this space thing? Is
Yeah.
this space thing really as much as we've been told? Or is it
Right.
just like basically when you get up in a motherfucking commercial jet and you're around 40,000 feet, you're in space at that point? Is that
But
what they're saying?
one thing,
Because it's too
Yes.
cold for you to be out there.
Yes,
yeah.
that's
You know
what
what I
they're
mean?
saying.
But
Oh,
one
hold
thing,
on, guys. Hold on, just 1 second.
yeah.
You guys are quoting 1984 George Orwellian concepts. Like we just talk about stuff like that every day. Like
We do.
you gotta help the listeners out. You can't just sprout that and walk away like nothing ever. You guys are dancing with the stars. Stop.
I dance with the stars every day, Mup.
Yup, you damn right, bro. But no, for real though, because we got to bring that nobody just bringing that. You know, they're too afraid to say what they don't know. You know,
I mean,
I'm not
honestly, bro,
afraid.
think
I'm
about
not.
it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, how am I supposed to know that when I am in a airplane traveling from here to wherever it is, and I'm at 34 or 36,000 feet or higher,
Mm-hmm.
um, that I'm not in space? How do I know that I'm not? Because I'm not allowed to go outside of that plane. And if I do, I've been told that I'm basically going to die because I can't breathe and it's too cold for me to live out there anyway. And then I
Right.
need a parachute if I don't, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Because of
like, you're
gravity.
closed completely off. So, how are we supposed to figure out the
Yeah.
average person? How do we know what the fuck space is?
Right. How do we know how like you're right. We don't know none of that shit. You know what I mean? And I don't and like you say with the George Orwell, yeah, I really think that they got us because they had the information first. You know what I mean? Like whoever obtains the information first can manipulate it. So it's
You
like
know?
I was born in '87, bro. Like this shit's been going on for a minute now. You know what I mean? And I've probably been a part of it many times through
How
maybe possibly this whole reincarnation process that my soul contract is stuck in. You know what I mean? Because I didn't understand that that's what was happening. So you got your matrix with the web within the web within the web. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And to me is all the way from the micro all the way down to what our cells choose to do inside of us, all the way out to what the fuck is space. It
Right?
doesn't make nothing that they tell us has made any logical sense. And they've already admitted to lying to us, saying they haven't been on the moon. The nigga who was on the spaceship that supposedly landed on the moon flat out said we didn't fucking go. He flat out said it.
Yeah, I mean,
It is
yeah.
for you could
You
just
could you
look
could
it up.
call him like you could call him misinformation if you want to, but that's
It's
what
from
he
the
said.
horse's
You
fucking
know?
mouth. His contract was over. He was able to speak on it without getting murdered.
Well, he's dead now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't he from Ohio?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Buzz
so.
Lightyear, Buzz Aldrich, whatever the
Yeah.
fuck. I think,
Mhm.
yeah.
Same difference, really.
Yeah.
In
I
character
know,
in a
right?
movie.
Buzz.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's like if and then you
And
had the
it's so is
proof
that a
given to
glitch in the
you alive.
matrix? Is him saying then that we never went to the moon, is that a glitch in the matrix?
Yes, they
Bruh.
created it and they
Is
wrote a book so you would have a theory about it.
Mm-hmm. And
right. So him
and
saying that is like a breakthrough.
and
Like maybe like what? It's enough like it's like so much energy of people wanting to say this shit was
Wait.
fake as fuck, that finally
Exactly.
it
No.
came through.
Look. But then you have General Byrd, who says he flew through the center of the fucking earth
Right.
in the North Pole out the South Pole,
Right. And I mean,
and it was
I
civilizations
know
of
that these people,
extraterrestrials that lived inside of there.
right. And I know that, we don't have to, and we're not supposed to, and we shouldn't just believe every person that was in the
Not at
military that
all.
came out and says all this shit. But I mean, god damn, bro, like, do you honestly, is there a way for you to prove that he's lying?
No.
Because I don't think there's no way nobody's going to be able to present to me that somebody can't fly through the motherfucking center of the earth.
Right.
I mean,
Don't.
I
And then is all right. So if we can lie about going to the moon, is it outrageous that he flew through the center of the earth? Is that it's not even like an outrageous fucking
dude,
thought anymore.
there's look from like World War One era, right? There's these motherfucking gigantic tunnels
Glitch in the fucking
put
matrix.
straight through a fucking mountain, bro. And now I'm talking about huge.
Right.
Like I said, back in World War One days. So if back then they had tunnels that huge that they could travel from one country to another, basically because of
Right.
being bombed and shit.
Right.
If they could do a tunnel that big and that long back then, what the fuck can we do now or 20 years ago that somebody could possibly fly through the fucking earth? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
Right.
I'll tell you,
and
there's people who do know, and they're not saying, and
Facts.
they can say, they just can't say. So
Right.
if
Well, you would
Elon
think that
and
Admiral
Richard
Byrd,
Branson and all these
right,
people, they know what's going on. They just aren't telling you.
for sure.
right.
And
Well,
you
that
think
whole
that okay, an astronaut is they paint that picture like an astronaut is a honorable type of duty. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with military and shit, right? So that's
yeah,
why when they speak or when they tell us things that are like crazy, like oh I flew through the center of Earth. You know what I mean? It could be a bunch of bullshit because they're like, all right, if we get a guy who's an admiral, the definition of admiral is fucking honorable.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
We can get
Exactly.
an
but
Admiral
also,
T. Bird to fucking tell you this. But at the same time though, it's not an impossibility because we've seen pictures of shit that you no longer can they scrub the internet for that
Okay, look,
shows
this is how I'm going
the
to explain
energy how the
why.
energy works on the planet Earth.
This is my explanation of why I can't be just convinced just that he's lying, is because I've also been convinced that we've sent robots to Mars and they've drove around and picked up
Exactly.
dirt and stuff
Glitch in
and
the
brought them
fucking.
back.
How do you see the moon if you can
So, I
only
mean,
see
if we can
3
do
miles
that,
of fucking way? Exactly, bro. See, that's that fucking glitch in the matrix, bro.
but
That's a fucking program in the sky, bro. That's a
here's the
fucking
thing.
a
If you look
hologram.
if you look at secret societies, you can find out that everything you're being told is a lie. The military is a secret society. The police department is a secret
Yeah.
society. All these religions have
All the
secret societies built
fraternities.
into them,
Yes.
and fraternities
Yep.
and sororities, and
Brother. Yep.
everything that's going on,
gangs.
they don't tell you. You're not being told. You can ask the question, they'll lie straight to your face
Facts.
because that's the agreement that they made.
Yep.
So if you expect these people to tell you what's going on,
Oh
you're
no.
not going to get that.
No, we just want to be mindful of put them thoughts out there. Like ask these questions. Ask these questions to yourself first off. You know what I mean? Because like I said, man, a lot of the shit doesn't make sense at all. You know what I mean? Like from a fiery ball in the sky that gives us all of the life that we've
All the
ever.
life that we need.
You know what I mean? Like
It's the energy to everything.
People who've studied the sun for
But it's
25
also
years will tell you something
radioactive.
different. Right.
But it's also radioactive, which is bad for us and causes solar flares and solar rays and kills stuff and knocks all of our electronics out and melts things down like nothing. But it's also the thing that gives us life and death. I mean,
Yep.
and then we got this thing called the moon that blocks it and gives us what we call night. If we didn't have the moon, people, we wouldn't have nothing called night.
And
What the
I
fuck?
just want to say happy lunation cycle to everyone. We had a full moon in Gemini this morning at 4 degrees,
Oh
and we have
shit.
the sun that's in Sagittarius. So you're going to get some really interesting information coming around to people,
Hey.
things that they didn't plan on saying, or maybe they don't even know what they're saying and they're just kind of spouting off at the mouth, and they're going to be saying things that, just are coming out of the closet. So be listening because it's in Gemini. So it can come through the phone, it can come through the air, it can come through an email, come through any technology form. So pay attention, keep your antennas up and out and about and aware because you're going to have that new moon energy or the full moon energies probably for the next, five or so days. So
I still feel like it's Thanksgiving. I'm still trying to stay in that mode. Like um, I don't really know what happened during Thanksgiving. I don't know if anybody really was peaceful or not, and if they
mhm.
really had a dinner at all. But I know that Thanksgiving season, right, for me, um, it's just I love it because I love the food.
It's
The
a happy
food's
season.
great.
Yeah,
Harvest.
And then I feel like for a few days at least, people kind of calm down
they do.
because they're like at home and they're chilling with their people or
The
And
whatever.
you know
And
what
the
didn't
so to
happen
me,
though,
that's a
right?
lot more. It's a lot more resting
You know
and a
what
lot more
didn't happen
peaceful
though,
to
right?
me.
But we don't be we you know what didn't happen is people didn't go out on Black Friday like they normally do. I
No,
witnessed
well,
that now was
some
different.
majority of people that did were the people that were doing the smash and grabs.
Yeah.
The majority
But
of people that went out on Black Friday
it was
were
a program.
actually
See,
stealing shit.
Black Friday, cause look, there's so much information going out. How people, all right, people got good at selling shit online, right? And they
hmm
tried to pull a Black Friday sale on a whole group, a generation of people who know exactly what the fuck that thing costed 6 fucking years ago.
Right.
So
Exactly.
like every last one bro, like there's so many videos out that show you that they just changed the signs and put Black Friday's deal and it's the same price. If you get online and you look at everything like that, so like that programming for Black Friday and Thanksgiving has been screwed, bro. Like it's not the
Yeah.
same no
Well,
more,
just
bro. Like
sales in general. We all know what that is. These
yeah.
motherfuckers don't give you, man, they really never know
But it's just
sales.
like a lot of people have been saying fuck it because it's like, bro, we've been celebrating this genocide for fucking how long, and everybody knows that there was motherfuckers here before this motherfucker got here, and all this shit fucking happened. So like, it's been getting vetted with a lot of like people's communities. They've been doing like friendsgiving and finding different ways, or Indigenous People Day. Everybody's not having, and then so like a lot of the energy was lost too because I know a lot of motherfuckers, right, who last Black Friday was like, I can't wait to get out here. And I know those same people was like, man, I'm not even about to play this game. Because
Yeah, I
they have been having so much access to other information. You know what I mean? Like it's just
My
it's
opinion
just
is
been
it's a
fucking
great
wild.
time to practice gratitude and also to plan what your new year is going to, look like and what you need to do to
Yeah.
help achieve
Harvest
those
season,
things.
man. You
And it's a time to really be quiet and listen. If you can get quiet within your body and within your surroundings and, even outside in nature, it's amazing the stuff that you can learn or hear that you weren't able to hear before.
right, for sure.
yeah, we
What up,
I don't know.
Coach
We
P?
might go today if it's not too chilly out. We're going for bike rides, man, and
Oh boy.
that's
But guys,
go ahead, Mup.
how about how about instead of replacing the holidays, just give them back? Let me say this. Let me say this. To the victors went the spoils only because the losers listened to the victors. We're in a position we don't have to listen to the victors
Oh
no
yeah.
more because we have information refuting what the victors told us.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I don't necessarily replace, the holidays with something else, per se. I know that it's something I can't stop myself. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't make everybody say fuck Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? That's not, my intention either. You know what I mean? I want you to make a wise choice upon yourself on what you choose to celebrate. Override whatever programming that is, going on. And, if you must, you can create your own tradition or create your own spells to fucking cast or celebrate some shit like Megawatt or would do and be like, this is harvest season. You know what I mean? And it's the fucking fall solstice,
It's a
and
great
that's
time
what
to
I'm
check in with your body and ask, what do you need? What
right.
what can I support you that,
And do some simple, yeah. Do
better
something for
things
you.
that I
Do
can
something for
eat.
you. How about
Mhm.
that? Just don't give whatever that energy that you have for the holidays. Don't give it away. How about that? Don't give it away to anybody else. How about that? You do something with it internally for you and your family. How about that? That's what I would advise on a spiritual
Yeah,
level to
like
anybody.
just look forward to whatever you plan on doing,
I
whether it
can
be traditional or non-traditional. Just look forward to doing it, but you don't need to be forced to do it.
No,
You know what I
I can
mean?
always tell that it's time for me to do it because I'm way more emotional and I just don't. It feels like everything is like a deeper jab or like I feel it more than I normally do. So I have to really reach inside and see, what is causing that for me. So this time of year, I'm always like that, more emotional, more in tune, and, feeling everything basically.
I feel like I get a little more hungry than usual. I'm serious, man. Like when it starts getting cooler
You
outside and
fucking bear.
colder, it's just like I don't know, man.
You a
I
fucking
don't know
bear.
what it
You
is,
don't
but
wait.
What is
Thanksgiving
wrong with this
season.
person? He's back in the chat. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just been ignoring him. Like we said, I wasn't gonna give my energy away to this weirdo. But um oh man, this is crazy. This person's nuts. This person's nuts. That's the guy that was asking his mom to fix him a sandwich when he was running his mouth. That was funny. It's like you grown as hell asking your mama to make you a sandwich during the middle of the day. What's wrong with you, boy?
He said, "Buddy got the third policy on
Man.
kidnapped
But
children."
but man, hey, so other than what we've talked about, what else do we think could be considered a glitch in the matrix? I mean, like I've heard um I've heard a bunch of things since the 2020 election happened in the United States. And it seems like there's been something, I don't know what happened, but there's been something that happened that it seems like there's that same repetitive energy from another time, and it was what kind of basically started like World War II. And it feels like that there's I guess a generation of people that feel like they're kind of getting left behind, and I guess they've been considered the silent majority. And it's not just a color, I guess, or a race. Is a certain way of thinking, I think, that is like kind of being phased out. And so, do you think that's like a glitch in the matrix, or do you think that's just the way that the new generations are programmed, is to kind of like get rid of that old and it's a new update? As if we're talking matrix, if we're talking computer type shit, do we think that's like somebody writing the code to like update the system to act differently, or is it a glitch?
I
Is it
I don't
like
think it's either one.
is it really supposed to stay that way, and it's something that's been hacked or whatever, you know what I mean?
I don't think it's either one, and here's why. If you're creating glitches in the matrix, so to speak, at
Mm-hmm.
some point you have to stop that for a minute and see where the matrix is aligning and what's happening in it to decide what other things need to be changed or glitched. And you can't keep glitching it until you take the temperature. In order to take the temperature, you have to settle things down. I think this is just that time in between time where
Mm.
they're deciding what
Yeah.
glitches next.
What to
Yeah.
what to
Right.
put
So
in. Right.
just kind of like putting the just letting the game run on like automatic for a little while.
Yeah.
Kind of is what you're saying. So like there's a mode on like a video game, especially in sports, that you could just like take your human self out and just let it play.
More
You know what I
more
mean?
more
Yeah.
like you just stop and you're looking around. Like you're looking in front of you, behind you. You're like trying
So
to
like
figure out.
so like the you're still the player in the game,
Uh-huh.
but you just like stop with the joystick and
Yep.
you
And
just
you
stand still and you're
yeah,
just
and
looking around and everything.
yeah, cuz I've seen those games. The head can go all the way around. It looks
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
behind
Right.
it and every up and down and everywhere
Yeah.
and behind a wall and you're just
Yeah.
doing that.
Right. And I mean, if you
Yeah.
think about it, at that point, once you take your hand off the controller, then you're not actually a part of that
Mm-hmm.
anymore. And so then that character is just an NPC
Mhm.
that's just standing there that's been programmed
Mm-hmm.
just to look around.
In some
And
games
so
though,
then
like, you know,
are you the
people will still
soul?
interact with you though. Like some games, like yeah, like some
Well, I
games,
think
like
I think the game is still talking. No, it's like where are you gonna
yeah,
go? What are you gonna do?
yeah.
What weapon do you need or
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that?
Like for
Yeah.
like if you pick like a game like Red Dead and you put your character at a bar, at a saloon, and you just sat him at the bar and you just let go of the controller and you just left them there at the fucking bar, people will still interact with your character, and sometimes they'll have like an autopilot. Your character will have like an autopilot response to those NPCs, but not all games are, you know, like that at all. You know, like you said, only the ones that are programmed to be like that.
Right. Right. Like Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you take your if you take the dude and get in a vehicle and go park in the middle of the intersection, them cars are going to react to that. The other ones are going to drive around you, or they're going to honk
Yes.
at you. They're going to cuss at you. A cop, if he sees you, he's going to run up,
Yeah.
try to do something. Maybe there's a carjacker around. I've been carjacked before doing shit like that on there. So like, this is all kind of different shit that
Yeah, just
you know.
sitting
And it's
there, man.
like,
Yeah.
is that like just the program, or is that actually people reacting to it? Because like I said, like once you take your hand off the joystick, that's almost like the soul coming out of the NPC, because you are what's telling it what to do, etc. At that point. So what does it mean for your NPC then, in terms of like us, right? What does that mean for your NPC to still be kind of interacting with other people when you're
That's that.
not even involved in
It's that autopilot. You
it?
you've been on that. You've been on auto. We've been on autopilot. Sometimes we, you know, what I mean, we do it to kind of disconnect. You know, at the same time, it's like,
Right.
you know, what I mean, a
I
defense
think maybe
mechanism.
scrolling phones would be considered like maybe on autopilot. If you're just sitting there scrolling your phone, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
or watching something
a
on
lot of us
TV, you're
have
just kind
idle
of
hands and shit. You know what I mean? A lot of us have idle hands and shit. Like, you know, I come up with the best bars, bro. If I sit down, I put a video game controller in my hand. Sometimes I don't even have to be playing a video game, but I could put on music and I could fucking put the controller in my hand and bars or rhymes would just come to my head like I was fucking, you know, doing combos on fucking Street Fighter or some shit.
right,
You know what I mean? Like, and then it's just weird. You know what I mean? It's just some fucking some idle hands type shit. Some like a programming about myself for some reason that my hands need to be doing something in order for my focus to be more available for the music or for whatever I'm writing or doing. It's not, it's crazy. I just know that I'm more efficient when I have something to doodle with in my hands. What kind of fucking, it's like it unlocks a different part of my brain to
right.
make it all easier.
Man,
It
I know
it
that.
does
Oh,
unlock a
go ahead,
different
Mega.
part of your brain. That's true. It, it
Yeah, I was gonna say like when people sit with their hands in the shape of a triangle but like upside down, um, and you're just sitting like that, that's supposed to
That's a
mean
mudra.
that you're like, yeah,
yeah.
you're trying to go into like a calm state or you're in control or whatever it is. So,
Yeah, and it's
but
something about like the shape of like some of these controllers and shit, and you get to fucking move your
exactly, because I
finger,
was
you
just
get
about
to
to say that. If
fucking
you
move
think
your
about it,
fingers and shit around.
right, when
Yeah.
if you think about it, when you're moving a lot of the things, like if you're holding it and then you're using all of the stuff, you're almost in that shape of a triangle.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's just weird, you know what I mean? But like it's like a like you said, like a program, and it unlocks a different part of my brain that helps me focus better, or that adds a level of focus where my bars come from. It opens that part of the brain. But like that's why it's like that's another reason why I would think this shit could possibly be a simulation, because sound and frequency, play so much, has so much power. You know what I mean? Like, how else would sound and frequency have that much power if there wasn't programs, or if it wasn't, matrix like? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So you're talking about this many hertz and this many this and this. So like you can play a binaural beats in your head and literally bring your soul out of your fucking body. I've done that shit before. Self-induce some crazy shit like that, you know what I mean, with the vibration, you know what I mean, and then like you find out they know the vibration of cancer, what frequency that vibrates on, and like obviously matching vibrations called what, harmonics. So then you're now, you can be in harmony with cancer, or you can be in harmony with something else, you know what I mean? So it's like
right.
I don't know, and then you have like the I think like the frequencies are like the ones and the zeros, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
how Neo, when they were looking at the computer screen and the ones and the zeros, I think the equivalent, in our Matrix movie that we're all in, would be the frequencies and the vibrations, because that's the one universal thing.
right.
That
Yeah, I
part.
mean, man, just thinking about, well, like what you were just saying, and then thinking about how we could be living in a programmed matrix. Well, when you talk about it like that, it seems like it gets a lot more close to like, or closer to it being more natural
Yeah.
almost. So like, how the association with the matrix, as far as like religious and then like spiritual and then like just matrix in general, like inside of a matrix
Right.
that's been designed, it all makes more sense when you don't close off all the other doors.
Right.
And you know what I mean? When
Yeah.
if you close off everything else and you just think about, you're talking about a digital matrix. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna be closed the fuck off. But
Yeah.
if you let everything else be open, and if it fits, then it just fits. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
like it's
I'm
like
not
I
trying to
definitely
make it
think
fit, but if
you're
it
right.
lines up,
I definitely think we are in a fishbowl inside of a bigger fishbowl, and that fishbowl is inside of a bigger fishbowl, and then that fishbowl could possibly be inside of a lake, and then that lake, could fucking possibly be a part of a fucking ocean, and a river runs through it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, we
Like,
could
so
be
it's
in
like,
like separate biodomes.
yeah, bro. Like and no matter how, if you want to look at it consciously, spiritually, physically, you know what I mean, all the way down. You know what I mean, from the top to the bottom, from as above and so below. Like it just it's the possibility that it's a web within a web within a web, or a dream within a dream within a dream within, just like Inception or Matrix. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's not that hard to be like, oh, that's, you can't say that isn't a possibility. I mean,
Right.
fuck, we
And
we just
then,
watched a fucking plane just freeze in the fucking sky, and they're talking about, oh, well, that's your eyes playing tricks on you. But bitch, we could see the moon 280,000. Never mind.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? Like We can see 3 miles away, up to 3 miles away on a clear day, and a fucking plane is 20,000 something feet in the fucking air. But
Yeah, and a
motherfuckers was
plane
able
ain't that damn big.
to, and people was able to see a plane frozen in midair. And they try to say, "Oh, well, it's your brain. It's your brain playing tricks on you. It's when you're moving." So like we're moving at like 500 miles an hour or some shit. Like how does that fucking happen that a plane just freezes in mid fucking air, bro? And it's
Yeah,
on the news, and people,
right.
millions of people report it, and they try to tell you it's your mind, it's your eyes playing. Nah, bro, that's a fucking glitch.
Yeah. Well, that's like there's no denial of the Mandela effect. It just
Yeah,
says that a certain amount of
it's a
people
glitch.
view it or remember it this way, and then a certain amount don't.
I mean, no, if you Google if that movie Shazam existed, Google will tell you it does not fucking exist. But
Yep.
fucking
They'll
goddamn,
say
I've
you're getting it mixed up with Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal
yup.
or some shit.
But I've seen I got the Facebook post to prove that that motherfucker exists because I saved the picture of the guy who had the fucking VHS player and VHS tape, and
And
he had the proof. I saved that picture.
and there's a bunch of other shit. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not just that, and it's not just the Berenstein Bear thing. Like
Mm-mm.
there's
Like
multiple
people,
things.
like people dying. Like I could have swore Bob Barker died like twice already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of them. And then like the one where it all came from was the Nelson Mandela,
Yep.
and it's like some people remember him dying in prison,
Yep.
and some people say nope, that didn't happen,
Doesn't happen.
and then the official says nope, that didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Nope.
So it's like, did the official just decide to side with one side? Is there any truth in that at all? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
I know, bro.
or
They tricked us into thinking we went to the moon. Glitch. You know
well,
what I
bro,
mean?
just
Like,
think about this, okay? Think about this. All right, in 100 years from now, think about what I'm about to say. This person tweeted and said Muhammad Ali was not even allowed to come in this country. How was he able to be, or how were they able to want him to go to war during Vietnam? And I was just like, whoa. So think about it. Somebody 100 years from now, if they type in to AI or they ask, hey, they're going to be, ain't no typing 100 years from now. We know that. If they think to AI, if they're like, AI, who was Muhammad Ali? And all these years, AI is taught that Muhammad Ali was somebody that didn't live in the United States, but was forced to because he was a black person and he was a black Muslim, and he just so happened to be in the United States during the Vietnam War. That the military and the United States government wanted him to go into the thing and stopped him from boxing because of that. Then
mm-hmm.
what kind of a fucking history are we really learning, and do we really
Tupac gonna be
believe in
white.
now? What do
Tupac
we
gonna be
believe
white
in
100
now? Like
years from
we,
now.
the history that we believe in now,
Right.
why is it real? I mean, can anybody really tell me that the history that we are taught is the actual
Full
real
house.
truth?
No,
Oh no.
no, they can't tell you.
Uh-huh.
And there's so many different
I mean,
things
it's
to tell
fucked
it.
up, man, because like, it's fucked up because like I'm now realizing like holy shit on
Oh
a bunch
man.
of things, bro. Like,
Yes,
look, I'm
bro.
watching this thing right now. It's called El Dorado, right? And it's about how in 1920s and 30s, Berlin was the fucking mecca for all things taboo.
Right.
All right,
Right.
and so there were so many gay, transgender, and transvestite people
Hmm.
in Berlin. And then most people would never fucking even dream about this. But one of the first people to go undergo a surgery for go from one gender to another was a Jewish woman from the United States, and she also lived in France and Germany, and she was one of the first. And this place had transgender and transvestite just trans in general, men and women, and all gay in this huge fucking area of
Mhm.
Berlin, and they all hung out, and not just gay and lesbian or whatever, but just people in general, just like you would go to a drag show, right? Um, and it shows how all of the back then, like, and I know I already knew this, and probably everybody already does too, but back then in those times, a lot of the the quote unquote women that you saw dancing or in pictures and stuff were actually men.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was
And
talking about the models. All of
yeah,
those
yeah,
big model houses were men wearing the women's clothing,
Yeah.
the
right. And
bras
so
and the
so
underwear and the dresses and
Red
everything.
light
and
district and
but
shit.
but the thing is like when we've been taught, or when we found out that they were actually men, we weren't, I don't know, maybe I didn't learn until recently that most of those quote unquote men were actually trans men, which
Yeah.
is even more like, well, we're just doing the same shit. None of this is new.
Right.
Right, it's not new at all.
Literally
You can go
none
back
of
to
this.
you can stop that timeline and hop back to Roman times, and
Yeah.
you
I
can
was
start
about to
there
say the
and
same
pick
thing.
pick up where you are now.
Yep.
And if you want to overlay something funky, go ahead and overlay in the Berlin thing the Hitler thing, and you'll have some
Yeah.
really interesting
Well,
stuff
no,
that you
it
find.
just goes to show exactly the process in which you want to say, the programming of a nation dies. Like that's part of the death. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like
it's
so,
the
like
250-year Pluto cycle.
yup,
Mm-hmm.
yup, and it's wild to see that it happens everywhere. You know what I mean? In the world, that same process. For some reason, we lose all moral compass when it comes to genders and sexuality, and then that leads to some other shit, and
Right. Well,
obviously,
you get to a point, I guess, in society where you get to a higher thinking. And when you get to that thinking above all the constructs or the standards that put in place, then you're like, what's next? Shit, let's start making shit up. Let's start doing whatever the fuck we feel like doing. Fuck the law, fuck the rules, fuck the limits.
yeah,
We're gonna do
all
whatever. And then when that happens,
societal construct is thrown out of the
exactly.
societal construct is thrown out of the window. You know what I mean? Like we
Right.
don't even we like in I not saying
And
that
I don't,
there's
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what
right,
I'm saying
right.
is the powers that be, once they realize that they are either lost control or they're not going to get a gain control like they want, they'll just fucking let that bitch go.
Yeah, well that's what
And
you
when they let
see
it
it.
go, then that's
You
turmoil.
see
Then
it,
you know
and
what I mean?
they'll promote it. They'll promote the insanity. They'll promote the Marxist type of views to get the society to crumble because they want it to crumble because
Exactly.
they could save it. You know what I mean? So they could be like, oh, we saved it. We saved the world. We da 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 da. We did this. We did that. We made it so that this, and then you're another. Here comes another. Hitler slash whatever program. But I think
Yep. And
at
then
the
they get
same
to
time,
involve a whole nother country,
yep.
a whole nother part of the world into their
I think
gig.
at the same time, like I can't, and just based off of everything we talked about and shits being glitches in the fucking matrix, I can't necessarily think that I personally don't have enough evidence myself. If you're talking about all I have is this history book to say that Hitler was the bad guy. Now, a lot of people will fucking hang me for that statement, but I'm just saying that there's not enough information.
Well, I can tell you this: he isn't who people think he is. And I'm not going to say
Yeah,
bad or good
and me
because I
neither.
think that's an irrelevant
Right,
time of thinking, but he isn't who people think he is. And a lot of people, for something to work the way they want, they need players in the game who fit the the way that they want them to look. They have a
right,
profile of a person, a makeup of a person, and they pick people. Hollywood is a great example of that. They pick people in to be in the movies, to be making music, to be in the theaters and the arts, and you think they're a certain way, and they're a completely different way.
Yeah. Well, hey, think about this. So like, we got 2 minutes. Shit, I gotta say this. We've been taught and we've been translated to and heard and listened to the way that Hitler talked. But we were also never told that the type of people that he was against were all associated in a certain way with some weird shit. Number two, those people that came up during that generation were paying reparations for something that they had nothing to do with. And then the number three was that Hitler is said to be racist, but in his army, the SA, right, there was black Germans in his army. How the fuck does that make, like, they say Trump is so racist, but you see pictures of him with all the black people, all the black stars, all the black preachers, everything you think of. And then you see there's black Germans on Hitler's basically hand-picked shit. So like there's that bunked right there. I mean, and if you debunk one part of it, then all of it's subject,
Well,
bro.
then you find out a swastika was from Africa, like, and then you
Right.
find out like, and then you find out so much fucking other shit, that you didn't really fucking know. You find out, like,
And then you're like, okay, so there was only really one type of person that he was against, but I've been told he was against everybody other than blonde hair, blue eye.
right, me too. That's what I
Anyway,
thought
we're
as
finna
well.
run out of time. We got about 30 seconds.
Hey, Mindset Mindfulness Monday. Today is a 9, so
Just look it up and
look
you're
it
gonna
up.
figure out what that means. We'll be back tomorrow.